Hello, folks. This is Kenny with Just the Right Angle doing the regular broadcast I do every Wednesday at 12:35. This is a pre-recording. If it looks a little different from the Rumble broadcast that I did, it's because this is basically a re-recording of that. You can check me out at Rumble Just the Right Angle. I'm also on Podbean, where I do various audio of many types of issues. The big story today that is still going on is the Republican State Convention that occurred Saturday, June 8th. Conservatives for a long time have been fighting to take control of the Republican Party of Arkansas, a battle that is also going on across the nation. And on Saturday, June 8th, in the town of Rogers, the Republicans, conservative wing of the Republican caucus or group or party, if you will, managed to outwit, outsmart, and outnumber the uniparty rhino establishment types. We followed the rules. We conducted ourselves in a professional manner. We went by RPA rules as well as Robert's Rules of Order and managed to get several rule changes passed. Biggest one, of course, is the closed primaries. If you've heard of closed primaries in the Arkansas news, you'll notice that there is a claim that there is a supposed need to change law. As a matter of fact, Conduit has an article about this that was issued yesterday. Will a change in Arkansas law be necessary before the Republican Party can close primaries? No. Arkansas leaves it up to the political parties to decide the issue, and it is Arkansas Code 77-307A, which says each political party may establish by party rules additional qualifications that is established by Order 7-5-201 for eligibility to vote in primary elections of the party. And if you want to look at any more of the legal details with this and some of the legal questions that have been done by this before, it go to Conduit News and look at the article, Closed Primaries, Is a Law Change Necessary? Of course, I want to thank Conduit for a lot of their efforts in terms of fighting to reform the Republican Party of Arkansas. For those who have listened to me before and have kept up, there's been massive reform of the Republican Party on a national level. Ronna McDaniel, Mitt Romney's niece and globalist who is responsible for much of the losses of the Republican Party after Trump got elected, was finally ousted, along with about 60 of what appear to be mainly useless consultant types. We still have a ways to go in the Republican Party, but we are working to get there. What I'm going to do is play some audio, various videos that I've taken over the fight. Really, the first thing to think about with the convention that happened June 8th, 2024, is what happened in the convention of 2022 of the Republican Party of Arkansas. During that convention, the Pulaski County convention, where we choose the delegates to go to the state convention, was sabotaged mainly by Melanie Gulick and other operatives within the RPA, who then held a secret credentials committee meeting that they did not allow people that they are accusing of not properly doing their paperwork to do. They then didn't allow some Pulaski delegates that they didn't like to enter the convention. They lied, saying all Pulaski delegates were banned. They showed a ballot that had misspellings on it as justification to not allow the voting of the Pulaski County delegates to be entered in the convention. That ballot that they displayed was a lie. It was one that was not the final ballot that was used. And all during this time, multiple times, they used the Little Rock Police Department to illegally enforce their improper usage of the rules, which is wrong on multiple levels. And what I'm going to play here is footage taken by my lovely wife, Rebecca DeWitt, of what happened in the hallway during that incident. This footage is titled Pulaski County GOP Delegation Banned from Arkansas GOP State Convention, ... except a few. It is on Rumble, Just the Right Angle. If you go to Just the Right Angle on Rumble or type in Republican Party of Arkansas GOP Convention, you should be able to find it. I'll play a little bit of this and then move on to another issue regarding this.
Nobody from Pulaski County Committee is allowed in.
The chairwoman's in there.
The chairwoman's in there. She's not seated either.
The chairwoman is in there as a guest.
I mean, come on, guys. We need to have one rule. We need to follow the rules. The chairwoman is in there, and she's not seated either.
I mean, is the chairwoman
So
going to
is
report?
nobody from Pulaski County Committee?
If you remember 71 delegates that are not being seated, you will not be elected.
There's alternates too. Are the alternates allowed in?
No. I was told no. It's no.
Okay. Can we
I'm
get
not explaining this all day long. I would like to go back to the meeting.
By the way, this arrogant guy that's pretending that has supposedly been nominated as some kind of security guard, he's actually the GOP chair of Jefferson County. And unfortunately, I believe he's still the chair of that county. And he's putting out some stupid pretend explanation and ignoring the fact that, as mentioned before, there were delegates from Pulaski County allowed. It just wasn't the ones that they wanted.
So here's what's going to happen. You're a delegate. Are you a delegate?
Yes,
And you're one that's not being seated.
that's correct.
You're entitled to a refund. You need to leave.
Can't,
So I can tell you.
okay, I want an answer.
We never got refunds. A lot of us didn't. And on top of that, we didn't get refunded for gas or time lost from whatever events, work, or other events we wanted to do on Saturday. And of course, that's beside the point. We were illegally denied a right to vote in this convention.
I'd like an answer, please, sir, kindly. I'm asking peacefully. Are the alternates going to be allowed in?
I was in any part of that delegation that was being voted down. It was voted down that they're not being allowed in.
Yeah, they voted not to seat anybody.
They voted not to seat anybody that was on that delegate list.
Excuse
Still not your alternate. I'm not trying
Want to
to
go to the front hotel? I can see if I can get Sarah Joe or somebody out there to speak directly to you. But right now,
Would you do that? Because there's a lot of other people out there. They deserve
Right
to
now,
be.
Yeah, there was about 70 or so people that were out there, all ages, some of them elderly, some of them had kids, that were lied to about this convention, never told what would happen when we did show up, never apologized to, and later on kicked out of the hotel.
clear the hall.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
just passing on the information.
No problem. So if you would, who is it you said, Sarah? Sarah Joe?
Sarah Joe, right there, is the one who's going to tell you what's going to happen.
So Sarah Jo Reynolds was the former director, and she's one of the people that enforced this corrupt perversion of the RPA rules. And she, since, because of stuff like this and other things that Sarah Jo did, she was eventually forced out as being director. She has been replaced by Seth May. And unfortunately, Seth May appears to be in a similar same attitude as Sarah Jo. She appears to be in the same vein. For instance, during this convention, we needed a delegates list that was supposed to have been sent out after turned in by all the counties. Seth May, along with the Secretary Julie Harris, the one who did that lie regarding the ballot mentioned earlier, have still refused to release the delegate list, and it led to lots of chaos. But anyway, if you want to see the rest of that video, go to Rumble. Pulaski County GOP delegation ban. Also, it should be on Keep Arkansas Legal as well. What I'm going to play now is what happened at the convention Saturday. And this is just one example of what happened because of the failures and the sabotage efforts done by folks like Seth May and Julie Harris. And let's be honest, they're taking orders from globalists, and I'll name some of them. Chris Caldwell of Caldwell Consulting, who sadly, last time I checked, is still right near Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I think he's like either his chief of staff or he's in a high position with her. And I've got another one, Impact Management. They are a Rhino talent consultant class, a bunch of talentless hacks who mainly depend on getting wads of money from various sources and then hiring Democrats to switch over in the primary to help keep what we call rhinos elected. And there's lots of other organizations that are responsible for sabotaging the Republican Party, groups that are also responsible for keeping Arkansas dead last for decades. They were in charge when the Democrats ran the state. The Arkansas Chamber of Commerce, the Arkansas Municipal League, the Arkansas Association of Counties, many of these federal agencies or state government agencies, well, some federals as well, have also been part of the reason why Arkansas is in a bad place. And I know a lot of these organizations will often have shindigs for Republicans. The Association of Counties just had, I think, their convention yesterday, and they'll often have guest speakers. I was kicked out of the Arkansas Association of Counties event previously, and not long after, they had Tim Griffin, I think, was their speaker there, and they'll often invite the legislators there, wine and dine them with your taxpayer funds to influence them. So if you wonder why your legislature may sound conservative, may even be conservative during their first term, but then start to, do some, pass some bills that you disagree with or not listen to you, that's part of the reason why. And that's really what we're fighting against. And we're fighting against this on a national level and trying to get Trump in the office and the efforts to try to replace Tony Gonzalez with Brandon Herrera in Texas. Texas, by the way, did close their primaries, but they didn't close it in time for that election. That's what we're fighting against. And I say this all the time. If you want to fight against the globalists, Charles Schwab, Bill Gates, and the UN, you got to fight against the globalists in your own backyard. So I'm going to play here a little bit of what some of the confusion that occurred because of what happened because of the sabotage efforts of Seth May. By the way, just before the state convention, the following events had happened. One, they deliberately moved this place to Rogers to try to make it more difficult to conservatives to attend. Secondly, they tried in their state committee to require a 2/3 vote in order to pass any rules changes, which implies that they knew that there were rule changes that were coming at this convention and that those rule changes were going to be timely submitted. That attempt failed. When that attempt failed, then they tried to say, well, no rules are going to be heard, which is something they do not have the power to do, they being the Rules and Committee and the Platform Committee. The rules had to be submitted a certain date beforehand. They were submitted in a properly timed manner. But the committees usually what those committees do will go, well, we recommend this, or they'll say, we don't recommend this. Then the convention will vote on it. They actually did that during the last convention in regards to closed primaries. And during the last convention, we didn't have the votes then. We had the votes this time. So the Rules Committee just said, well, we're not going to let y'all hear this. In addition to that, they also violated RPA rules by refusing to release the rules changes that were proposed. So all that happened. And, of course, the delegate list that I mentioned before. So because of that, there was lots of chaos within this convention. Also, the RPA staff failed to make any effort to mark where in the counties where people were supposed to be seated. Usually in these conventions, if you'll see the national convention, you'll see a piece of paper or a sign that says, Pulaski County, Poinsett County, Yale County. All those counties will be labeled. They didn't bother to do that. So people were wandering all over the place. And there wasn't really a secure room, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, let me just play a little bit of what happened. This was close to the start of the convention. There was first a nomination for chair and then an attempt to seat delegates. This was done by Chair Joseph Wood, who was, the RPA chair who first starts the meeting. And I'll just play a little bit of what happens then. Yeah, there were a lot of mic issues that went on during this convention as well, which is something that should have been taken care of. I mean, I've made mic issues myself, but I didn't end up screwing up the...
There's people who that's registered before today, paid and registered, and showed up a few minutes late because of traffic or whatever.
So to understand RPA rules, you had to be a delegate in order to speak at the convention. The guy who was just speaking from Logan County, I didn't catch his name, did not have a delegate badge, but was recognized. Scott Gray from Saline County, who did have a badge, was not, or at least he's attempting to not recognize him. That's why the people are rightfully upset.
There are duly elected delegates here who were not provided lanyards. They need to be seated with lanyards.
But we just had that discussion about delegates that we're trying to get, and you voted to say no to move on to the temporary.
Yeah, but we paid.
I'm with you. So in that, are we saying we want to wait on the vote and then go back and get the delegates count and then come back and vote? All right, so I'm going to ask the question. What is the pleasure of the body? Do we want to get the delegates who said they came in late and then get their credentials and alternates? We want to get them registered and then go to the temporary, or if you just want to go to the temporary?
So again, this confusion happened because Chair Joseph Wood deliberately started off by nominating a temporary chair for the convention, which is something that's supposed to be done, and then saying, okay, let's do the alternates. And I think what he was trying to do was trying to sneak in a way where they could have him as the temporary chair. But the conservatives didn't fall for it. And this, I believe, is Margot. I forget which county she's from. She's going to explain things better. She's, by the way, a parliamentarian expert listed on this.
All in favor of getting the delegates and alternates taken care of, those say aye. Those say no.
Marco Hertzl, Searcy County. We are supposed to elect our temporary chair and then have that person oversee dealing with all of the credentialing issues. Whether it's almost there. We are right now. The motion on the floor is to allow candidates 2-minute speeches, and we've ordered a division of the House. So we're trying to take a standing vote on that motion, which means we all need to go to our seats so we can rise and be counted.
Point of order.
We have on the floor, what's the point of order?
Robert Martin from Robert's Rules here, number 5914-607. It's under Conventions Committee. Continuation of the committee until convention ends. It goes on to say that as delegates come in, they have to be credentialed inside.
That's what we're trying to do. I agree with you.
Now, the problem with her is that we're under Republican Party rule orders, which supersede Robert's Rules of Order during our convention. But again, that was an attempt by some, I guess, uniparty establishment person to try to sneak in more delegates and cause confusion regarding who we should have as temporary chair. So I'll play a little more of this to see what happens.
Right now, we have on the floor, for those who are want to have a 2-minute speech by the temporary chair nominees, we need those folks who support that to stand so we can count. Then we'll go on.
People get their credentials. It's a continual process through the meeting.
We agree with you, but the body said no. All right, so we need a count if we can do a visual. All right, this is for a 2-minute speech. All right, sit down. For those who do not want a 2-minute speech, please stand. All right. Okay, the ayes have it.
So, hold on, let me see what this is.
You married the two subjects. One was, should a delegate, a duly elected delegate that
given a voting tag, okay, lanyard? And should we appoint the alternates? Those are two separate subjects. And they need to be divided. The people that are duly elected, simply because they were late, should be given their lanyards and be able to vote. The alternates, on the other hand, was a subject that you brought up later after you opened the floor for election of the temporary. So you've married those two erroneously, sir. If you wouldn't please separate those two, give these guys that are elected delegates their lanyards, let them vote, and then we'll deal with the alternates after we elect the chair.
And see, that shouldn't have had to been explained. That should already be done. Also, the RPA hired a parliamentarian who should have interrupted the chair and explained that as well, but he really kept silent for most of the convention, except a few times when he, made some kind of statements regarding what was going on. Folks, conservatives, of course, have had to fight within the Republican Party. I'm going to show here a little bit of what happened. This was recorded by my lovely wife in the hallway again, this time before the start of the state convention. It is under YouTube account Liberty 1776. And it's Barbara Tillman of Benton County tells a group of what they can't let happen at the convention moments before the convening of the Republican Party of Arkansas 2024 biennial convention in Rogers, Arkansas. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then I'll play the part, of course, where I crash in this event, and then I'm going to kind of end this podcast here.
Saturday. We don't know how long you're giving up, but just to let you know, I know you can probably always get emails and that sort of thing, all sorts of stuff. But as I explained to the executive committee on Monday night, there's going to be some chaos. I'll tell you what I've already gathered from what I can get to what we need to function well. We need to put our business is to elect Republicans to be doing that and not to be people. And what happens when you're so busy trying to divide the party, you're not taking care of our candidates who get out a lot of time, money, and our supporters who we give money to this organization and all the way up to the national level. So there will be an attempt to elect a different chairman than Chairman Wolf. That happens. I'm comfortable with it. I know some of you won't run it. Those are for our state chairman. One of the things that the group of people that would like to push through, if you're not going to do it, is a rules change that would basically take the votes, basically make all of our state officials, our representatives, our state representatives, our state senators, constitutional officers, will make an ex officio no voting rights on the state committee. You know what happens when that happens? Where's Rick McKenzie? Oh, great. Then what happens is we operate as an organization by the laws of the state of Arkansas. It's legislative. So what happens? You have a special session coming up, we can redirect the special session if they like, or in January, we go into a regular session. What happens? Maybe they pass legislation that says will was filed directly with the Secretary of State's office and not with the party. And that happens time and peace. They're going to Little Rock, which some of them need to go, but we do support people statewide. And we as a county, because we are a generous county and have the ability to do it, pass funds all over the state to elected officials. So if you do that, what if that happens, what happens?
So anyway, this lady is running around and claiming her big issue is that we got to keep these Republicans in power on the state committee, so that because over money and power, that's all she seemed to be concerned about, and we got to elect Republican candidates. She noticed she has no concern about whether those candidates are conservative or not. And that's been a big issue with the Republican Party. I may try to adjust this audio for a little bit to make it a little louder. I'll try to adjust on the podcast, but I'll probably do a redo of this video later on. But you can look at it. It's members of Benton County outside RPA convention. It does have closed captions, so if you have a little trouble hearing it, you can bump up the audio. Folks, I always leave my favorite verse regarding this issue, and it's from Proverbs. It's when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people grumble. It's kind of the state we're in right now. It's Proverbs 29:2. And here's a different version of it. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. That's the King James Version. And that's kind of where we're at now. We're in a state of mourning. Economy's doing bad. Even if you make a lot of money, you're losing a lot of it to taxes and expenses. Crime, especially in these big cities, blue cities, is rampant, and Little Rock is one of those cities where it's massively getting out of control. What kind of nation is our kids and grandkids going to be when they grow up? And that's kind of the mentality of a lot of people are thinking now. We need a Republican Party that's going to fight against globalism and not be concerned about money and perks and sweetheart deals and pet projects that do next to nothing. Folks, again, find me at Just the Right Angle on Rumble. Keep Arkansas Legal YouTube, also on Facebook, Kenny _NLR on Twitter X. Also, Keep Arkansas Legal on Truth Social, on MeWe, Gab, and if it ever gets working again, Parler. I'll try to keep up with events that are going on. If you know any events or issues that are going on that you would like to be discussed, tax increases, local corruption going on, especially in the state of Arkansas, let me know. Contact me. Until then, I will see you all later.